What have you been doing for preparation for the tournament?
And I'm not one to preach and say, hey, do this or do that. But like I said, lead by example. Though if guys see, hey, Cillo's looking good. He's trying to do the best he can. Because for me, it's all about getting to September. All this other stuff is fine, but that's the end. That's the end game right now. So it's really all geared towards that. So if the other guys follow suit, I hope they are. A lot of the guys majority of the guys are pretty in shape guys anyway. You just hope that the couple of guys that have always maybe not have done as much in between tournaments, that they pick it up a notch. And I think a lot of guys want to save face and not go to a tournament like that and embarrass themselves. So I think self-motivation will be easy, and especially with 40-year-old guys. It's usually not a hard thing to motivate of being, not being in shape or embarrassing yourself. So I think that's good motivation.
What do you think that this tournament's going to come down to from a hockey perspective?
Well, I think, like I said, not playing in the last over 40 tournament, and some of the guys on our team that did have given us some insight as to what went on. A lot of the teams are more Canadian style hockey, ball control, not really doing a lot of movement. I think for us, we know going in that we have good skill guys, but we're not a finesse team. Grit and gumption is what's going to really take us over the top, I would think, on some of these teams.
Your expectations as the captain of the team, have you gotten any feedback from any of the players?
Not like official, not anyone that I'm not friendly with. Like some of the guys that I'm not very friendly with haven't reached out to me, and I at some point have to obviously probably speak to everyone to do that. Some of the guys that I know personally, we've talked. There's like obviously the other captains. I've spoken to Tommy and Steven pretty regularly. Not so much about that, but in general, we know what to expect of each other. Some of the other guys have reached out to me just in a general sense, but I think I need to reach out myself to some of the guys I don't know as well.
Since you guys have all been captains at one point or another, are you worried about the too many cooks in the kitchen issue? Everybody wants to be a leader?
No.
You're not
worried
about it?
Personally, no, because pretty much, like I said, there's probably a handful of guys that I don't know. There's been a lot of guys on this team that I play with, and majority of the time, if it's a team that's with me on and have been the captain, and it's been with like the Tommy Gallaghers, the Zambons, the Buffalo guys. I haven't been a Buffalo captain, obviously, but where we've played together on teams, and I have been the captain, and it's never a problem. So I think I've put the time in and gained the respect of the guys that I don't think that's something. I think we'll work better together that way because some of the guys will understand what it takes.
Right.
So, and I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. I've never even considered it.
What do you think the strengths of the team are now that you've had time to analyze the roster, talk to some guys?
I think our bread and butter is going to be defense and goaltending because we've been around, for us guys, like the style that we're going to probably play, defense and goaltending is pretty important. Listen, we're going to have a kind of rough and tough game, I think, as far as forward-wise. We have some guys that can score, and that's going to be good. But I think, like I said, our bread and butter, as I call it, is the defense and goaltending. I think we're pretty strong in the back in goaltending. We have 3 goalies that, I hang my hat on any one of them. So I think that's going to be our strength, and we'll be able to, like I said, grind it out. And I don't know if we'll be like an offensive juggernaut, but I don't think we'll need to be. I think the games will be tight, and I think where the defense and goaltending will help, that's where we'll be, beneficial.
And what about styles in comparison to what you're going to play as America and Canada versus what the Europeans are bringing? The ball possession and the control and the soccer style of play with the back and forth passing.
Now, without, like I said, I've seen the world's obviously a younger generation. I've not seen the older guys. And like I said, that some of the guys that have gone said that that's the style, but they feel that the matchup is good for us.
It is.
That the ball control is good, but like I said, on that rink where it's a little smaller, on a big rink they play in those ice hockey style rinks. The guy gets away from somebody, he's 2 steps ahead.
Right.
On that rink, you're probably only a half a step or a step away from the guy. So that'll, I think, benefits us. I'm hoping that our style is going to be very confusing and chaotic to them, and that by the time they understand what's going on, we'll be a little bit ahead in each game. So I'm not concerned about style at all. I think honestly our style is going to be beneficial in the end.
Any extra pressure for you as a player because it's on American soil?
I think a team as a whole, obviously being the captain is important, but I think a team as a whole, I
I think it's somewhat pressure because there's going to be a lot of guys on the street that won't be back.
Right.
We have guys in their mid-40s already, and that's a tall order when you got a whole new class of guys that are going to be sticking at the bit to join the next group. So I think it's a lot of pressure being the first, like in anything.
Right.
And for guys that understand that this may be a last hurrah. So I think a lot of pressure can be put on ourselves, but I think as for the sport, I think there is a little bit of added pressure to make sure you come out and make a good showing. So that'll be important to make sure we do well.
You've known Jay for years. You're a good friend of his. Now that he's seen his roster, he's had time to analyze it. You've seen the roster. What do you think Jay's going to add?
Well, one of the benefits of having Jay as a coach with this group, pretty much guys, their strengths and weaknesses, and I think that's going to be pretty important when it comes to putting lines together and how he does like power play setups and all that kind of stuff. So I think he's going to bring more of a, at this age you don't teach guys how to play hockey. He's going to come up with what he wants to do, and then it's more of a motivation type of put guys in their best position, knowing what he knows about them, and just let them go play. He's never one to strategize and say we're going to X's and O's type of guys. So really put the guys in their best position and let them do their thing. And I think he'll put everybody in their best position to play well. So.
Do you think special teams is going to play a more important factor?
Canadian teams and European teams are very good on the power plays from what I've heard, and even some of the younger, obviously being at the other type of worlds. So that I think is more important for us is how we kill penalties. Our power play, I guess I'm not really sure because I haven't seen it of what it'll be like. But I think for us, penalty killing will be pretty big because the ball control teams, that's a pretty big important part of their game. So I think that'll be more important for us than a power play at the end.
Yeah. Do you think crowding the net, blocking shots is going to be very important? Given that it's a small rink, guys are going to want to get a lot of shots on net.
On defense.
Yeah.
I think lane control is a lot important. Keeping them to the outside because a lot of them like that backdoor pass. They love that. So filling the lanes, keeping them to the outside. I think against teams like that is number one importance. The rest of the stuff, we have good enough goalies that if they're going to take that shot from the outside, you got to let them have it.
Right.
But everything on the outside and keeping the lanes because they love those, those nice backdoor pass and a one-timer. So I think that'll be more important than anything else.